Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm talking about Representative Barbara Lee and her recent amendment that she brought up in the House Appropriations Committee. There's an article here at Common Dreams. After 16 years, House panel takes step to cancel blank check for endless war. It says the 2001 AUMF, the Authorization for the Use of Military Force, has provided three administrations with a blank check for war. And so the House committee on Thursday took what this article calls a welcome step towards canceling the blank check for endless war, which was one of the descriptions used for the George W. Bush authorization for military force. And that's because the Republican-controlled House Appropriations Committee passed a repeal of that 2001 authorization for use of military force, which has been used to justify ongoing military actions in the world since the George W. Bush and then Barack Obama and then now the Donald Trump administrations. And that what the world looked like in 2001 is different from what it looks like now in 2016 or 2017. And so, in fact, that there's a need for a course correction and that there's actually multi-partisan opposition to the wars or military actions against Syria and then also Yemen, and then the threatened military actions against other hostile actors or actors hostile to the United States. And so Barbara Lee, she was actually one of the sole members of Congress to vote against the initial authorization of military force passed after the September 11th attacks. And so now she's tried that amendment in the past, and it never really got action until this year. And so she says that if passed into law as part of the Department of Defense bill, her amendment would repeal the 2001 AUMF 8 months after enactment of this legislation. And so that would allow plenty of time for Congress to finally live up to its constitutional obligation to debate and vote on any new AUMF. So she says that it's past time. And there's also an article at Politico saying House panel votes to force new debate on terror war. The move to rescind the post 9/11 military authorization was a rare victory for Democratic Representative Barbara Lee, a longtime war critic. And so, again, it seems like this article is saying that Congress, who has abdicated its responsibilities to decide when to declare war or to provide oversight of when is appropriate to declare war, that they might finally be getting tired of war on autopilot and abdicating responsibility for what they're supposed to do to the executive branch of the United States, the president's office. And so this House committee voted to require Congress to debate and approve U.S. military action in Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and other countries. And so that's the significance of what Barbara Lee put forth. And that there are Democrats and Republicans who seem to agree with her and voted with her. And hopefully that there will be a floor debate. It has to go to the full House for debate and then a vote. And then there's a reconciliation in the Senate. And then, we'll see what the end result is. And hopefully the amendment will stay in there. People are hoping that it will. And they're saying that, just time, changing political, geographical landscape, the entrance of more military veterans into the lawmaking body, these are some of the reasons, and the fact that people are beginning to understand that all those wars of retribution that had been exported overseas, people didn't realize that it was a direct harm and a threat and a repercussion to us here at home. That as much as we seem to hurt other people, we were actually hurting ourselves. And I think people are making that connection now, and that support for these military interventions has dropped, and is dropping. And so it seems like Paul Ryan is not on board with that, and there might be some opposition, but I do think that he's in a minority. Paul Ryan is, and that he's going to find himself out of step. That most of the supporters who voted for Donald Trump voted for him because he campaigned as someone opposed to recreational military interventions. That was how he won his vote base. And that support for these military actions are going to cause harm to those senators and congressmen trying to defend their seats in 2018. And that they are being targeted even now by brand new Congress, people who are actively running Republican candidates who oppose military interventions for the purpose of recreation and profit. That they're going to have their seats challenged, and so there has to be some kind of course correction, or else, and it still may happen, that these the thirst for exporting violence around the world might have to be voted out of office, actively voted out of office, if there is not a course correction. So we'll see. This effort for the Congress to defend their seats in 2018, they know they're in trouble, and they still may be in trouble on this and many other issues, that people are actively coming for their seats. And so I think this is great what Barbara Lee did. It somewhat makes up for her defense of the Trans-Pacific Partnership when she was on the committee to draft the Democratic Party platform, which was just unfortunate. But, she may be balancing herself out here by, once again standing up for what's right. This is not an insignificant issue. But I will say that people often associate members of the military or veterans as being eager for war, but as I've said before, that it's people who were actively involved or active in the military who've seen combat that actually know the true cost of war, and that of war, if they know the true cost of war, they know that it should not be given a blank check, right? And so, I can think of Jesse Ventura, Navy SEAL, underwater demolition, who has come out against recreational military interventions. Tulsi Gabbard herself, member of the armed forces, who is also not supportive of even arming people overseas, that then troops have to go over and fight. And then even Ajamu Baraka, Jill Stein's vice presidential candidate from 2016, himself a Marine, and who a Vietnam vet, I believe, and that who is definitely pro-peace and anti-war, and is very consistent on that. And so you see that, and then all the military veterans who went to the Dakota Access Pipeline to actually serve as shields for use of military weaponry and military tactics against our civilian population here in the United States. That was on scene, and that they would put their own bodies on the line as shields. So there are many military veterans who take a very measured view. They know the true cost of war. They know what it means and the harm that it brings when it's not for a righteous cause. And so if you know the true cost of war, then no, you don't authorize a blank check for it. You debate it, you put the decision making back into the body where it actually belongs, to the people who represent the people, not someone who wants to be the king of the world. So I think this is good. We'll see how it develops. Very significant, and we'll have to see. I say good luck.